All right, you say hello, students.
Hello, students.
Hello, everybody. All right, we're doing the next lecture on Africa here with my son, Smith. Smith, you can say hi to all the students.
Hi,
Okay.
students.
All right, so the first thing that I want to point out to you guys is that today we're talking about some different kingdoms and states in Africa. We're past Kush and Axum. We're going to talk about a couple others today, Ghana, Mali, and then we're going to touch on East Africa and South Africa. So first up, we've got Ghana. Ghana was an empire that grew right here, way in the west of Africa. They controlled this area that you see me circling up here. If you need some perspective as to where we are, Spain's up there, Atlantic Ocean is over here, New Jersey's way over there, and these lines are, of course, trade routes, because trade routes are my favorite thing. So Ghana, you're wondering what made Ghana rich? It's iron and gold supplies. These are the things that it had going for it. It also had salt. Salt was incredibly valuable in the ancient world. Why was it valuable? For preserving and spicing food. Remember, so much of the food that you would eat back then would be bland. They didn't like their food, just like you don't like your food sometimes, right? But the salt, would make it taste better, and so it was just had tremendous value. You got to remember that people living back then, they don't have all of the same options that you have in terms of flavors you get to experience. So spices were really important, just like you like spicy things. And
I don't like spicy things.
Oh, all right, okay. But the preservation qualities was obviously very important as well, so that you could transport food and whatnot. Okay, so Ghana is powerful for a while, but then of course it falls, and the next empire you've got is Mali, the Kingdom of Mali. Now, the Mali's in generally the sort of same area. It's a little bit east, and its capital is Timbuktu. The main story I want to tell you about them, you sort of get the point right by now, right? Of that empires rise, empires fall. They get powerful, then they fall down again. So you sort of get that by this point. So I just want to tell you the one sort of story about Mali, the thing that makes them pretty famous, and that was this guy. Smith, check this guy out right here. Mansa Musa. He's one of Mali's richest and most powerful kings. He's quite famous. He's a Muslim. And so he does, what's one of the 5 pillars of Islam, right? He journeys to Mecca at this one point in his life. But he's real rich. He's the powerful king of this big empire. And on his journey there to Mecca, he spends gold exorbitantly. Everywhere he goes, he's basically leaving $10,000 tips. He's leaving this tremendous trail of gold, paying everyone these exorbitant amounts of money. And what's interesting is historians can tell these kind of things from all sorts of research. Is he actually ends up spending so much gold that he creates problems. He creates economic problems for the towns he comes into, because he spends so much as a proportion of the economies of the towns he goes, that he creates crazy inflation, and he actually ends up creating some problems. He doesn't even sort of realize he's doing it. But why? Because of inflation. When you flood an area with money, it actually isn't good. If you go really, really high, it actually ends up being bad for the economy. And perhaps you could think about why that is. All right, now we'll go over to the east of Africa in this little highlighted area here. And yes, thank you. And in this area, I'm not going to go into the sort of specific empires, but the east is a little bit different than the west. In the east, there's very big blending. I mean, I know I just told you about Mansa Musa, but in the East, there's an even more of a blending between Islam and the sort of and these empires that had originated from here and the African societies that were already there, and this culture, this sort of blended culture, we call Swahili. And Swahili actually, and it comes from that, is the term today of national languages that are spoken in Eastern African nations. So there's a big, always remember, right, that Africa is a continent. It's not a country. It's a very diverse area. And the cultures you find in the West are very different from the cultures you find in the East. Specifically, in the East, you've got much more of a blending between the Islamic cultures and the African ones.
Hello, student.
Hey, we have a special sneak guest star here. You remember from last time. All right, well, we're almost done. Now we just go into South Africa here, and the thing that I just want you to take away from there is that states, sort of official nation states, formed more slowly down here. They tended to more have what we call, maybe unfairly, stateless societies. That is to say, living more around, clans and groups and small groups led by clans. So that's what they had down in the south there, and then this little group right here is just a Bantu language group. Remember the Indo-European language group that spread all throughout over here? The Bantu language group did a similar thing. So again, way, way, way back, you've got a language group that starts up here. These people migrate down here. South Africa develops more slowly, and that's it. All right. You want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.